Sir Keir Starmer is playing the long game, folks. Despite a political storm brewing around him, the Labour leader has boldly declared he plans to be in power for a full decade. That's right, 10 years. He's talking about a decade of national renewal, a phrase he's doubling down on even as his party's poll numbers take a nosedive. This comes at a fascinating time, with the Prime Minister feeling the squeeze from all sides. The government is losing votes to Reform UK on the right and the Green Party on the left, creating a volatile political landscape. But it's not just external pressures Starmer has to worry about. The whispers within his own party are growing louder. During the recent Labour conference, much of the chatter was about a potential leadership challenge from the popular Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham. When asked directly by The Sun if he sees himself in Downing Street in 10 years' time, Starmer's answer was a confident yes. He emphasized his commitment to what he calls patriotic national renewal, linking his long-term vision to taking the country forward. It's a bold statement of intent, especially when you consider the current climate. Meanwhile, Andy Burnham isn't exactly sitting quietly on the sidelines. He recently launched a fresh set of criticisms against Starmer's leadership style, describing it as narrow and shallow. The main point of contention: the handling of the two-child benefit cap rebellion. This issue has clearly created a rift. At the launch of his new book, Head North, which he co-wrote with Liverpool Mayor Steve Rotheram, Burnham was pressed on the case of MP Ian Byrne. For those who don't remember, Ian Byrne, the MP for Liverpool West Derby, had the Labour whip withdrawn and was suspended for 6 months as crime. He voted for an SNP amendment to end the controversial two-child benefit cap. Although Byrne eventually had the whip restored in February, the incident left a bitter taste for many. Burnham didn't hold back. He pointed out that no one lost the whip under Brown or Blair for similar actions. He argued that MPs' careers were being jeopardized simply for saying the right thing. This is a direct shot at Starmer's disciplinary approach and suggests a fundamental disagreement on how the party should be run. So, how is Sir Keir taking all this? Publicly, he's brushing it off. When the BBC questioned him about the potential threat from Andy Burnham, Starmer downplayed the entire situation. He called it the bread and butter of politics, something that every leader gets. He insisted it's just part of the job description and that he doesn't focus on it. It's classic political maneuvering, project strength, dismiss internal squabbles as noise, and keep your eyes on the prize. But behind closed doors, you have to wonder how much this internal friction is really affecting the party's morale and direction. The image of unity is crucial for any party hoping to win an election, and these public spats certainly don't help. Now, let's talk about those poll numbers, because they are genuinely shocking. According to a recent YouGov poll, Labour has hit its lowest ever rating under Starmer's leadership. The party has plummeted to just 17% of the vote. To put that into perspective, they're trailing Reform UK by about 10 percentage points and are only one single point ahead of the Greens. This is a massive blow. In fact, Labour is now polling lower with YouGov than the Conservatives ever did under Rishi Sunak before the last election. The lowest the Tories ever scored was 18%. This isn't just a dip, it's a crisis of confidence from the electorate, and the pressure on Starmer is mounting exponentially. Faced with this grim reality, Sir Keir is going on the offensive, and his main target is Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Starmer is attempting to paint Reform as being too Putin-friendly, a serious accusation in the current geopolitical climate. Speaking to reporters at the BAE factory in Preston, Starmer highlighted a recent £8 billion deal to sell Typhoon jets to Turkey. He framed this as a victory for Britain's standing in the world, a victory he claims would be impossible under a party like Reform. His argument is that this deal was only possible because the UK is a leading member of NATO, an organization whose central challenge is Ukraine. Starmer directly stated, "There is no way Nigel Farage and Reform could have won the order we won yesterday with Turkeys," trying to draw a clear line in the sand, positioning Labour as the party of national security and international cooperation, while casting doubt on Reform's patriotic credentials. It's a strategic move to peel away voters who might be swayed by Reform's populist message but are wary of their foreign policy stance. Of course, Nigel Farage has a long history of pushing back against these kinds of criticisms. On his stance regarding Russia, he has previously stated that he thinks Vladimir Putin is a very bad dude, but the Putin's patsy label is one his opponents are keen to make stick. This was on full display recently in the House of Commons. Farage attempted to bring forward legislation for the UK to leave the European Convention on Human Rights, or ECHR. This has been a cornerstone of his political platform for years. The scene in Parliament was tense. Farage's bid to introduce the bill was ultimately blocked by MPs during his speech. He grew frustrated with the constant interventions from other MPs, at one point telling a group of them to be quiet. Children. It was a classic Farage moment, defiant and confrontational. He forced a vote on the motion, which wasn't on the bill itself, but on the principle of even allowing it to be debated. The MPs voted against him, 154 to 96. It was a clear defeat. But for Farage, it was also an opportunity to show his supporters that he is fighting against the Westminster establishment. So what does all of this mean for the future of UK politics? We have a Labour leader trying to project long-term stability while battling internal dissent and disastrous poll numbers. We have the popular mayor of Manchester positioning himself as the party's conscience, potentially lining up a future leadership bid. And we have the ever-present Nigel Farage who, despite setbacks in Parliament, continues to command significant support and reshape the political right. For Sir Keir Starmer, the path forward is fraught with challenges. He needs to find a way to reconnect with voters who are clearly looking elsewhere. He needs to unify a party that seems to be pulling in different directions. And he needs to convince the country that his decade of national renewal is a credible plan, not just a hopeful slogan. The next few months will be absolutely critical. Can he turn the ship around, or are we witnessing the slow-motion collapse of his leadership? It's a political drama with incredibly high stakes for the entire country. Thanks for tuning in today. It's a complex and fast-moving situation, and we'll be here to cover every twist and turn. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.